Welcome back, everyone, to our session on Arrow Data Science and Machine Learning. So yesterday we started looking at the first part of this cohort, which is basic introduction of data science and other stuff. So this week, just to remind you, this week we are doing is basically introduction. We are not going deep dive into the details about the um, data science, but just to introduce you to some definition and other stuff. Next week, on Saturday, we are going to discuss NumPy, uh, and the notebook for the NumPy will be here. And we're going to discuss also pandas, and the notebook for pandas will be here. So what we'll be doing every day when we discuss NumPy, for example, Saturday, we're going to have like exercises. So you can see here, we have two notebooks here. This is a notebook for the lecture that you will go through, and this is NumPy 100 exercise. And the person who will teach us will be Lukman. And NumPy pandas also, you will see the pandas notebook, but the exercise. So this is NumPy 100 exercises, meaning after the lesson, you can go through these exercises. If you open it here, you can see 100 NumPy exercise. This is something to get your hands dirty on, just to practice. Like, you can see them, a lot of questions. So this may take you the way to try to practice, but we don't actually, say that you must finish all of them. You get what you want, but if you want to learn more, you can aim to finish all, and we will be there in the discourse trying to answer your question if you have any question. And here is also the pandas exercise, but we'll discuss more detail about this one next week, because when you are doing data science, when you master pandas and NumPy, you don't have any problem. When you master NumPy and pandas, then all the detail you'll be doing in your data science journey will be, will be not be difficult for you. You're gonna do your data visualization with pandas and everything. So yeah, that's about the next week. Any question? You can hear me well, right? You can all hear me, right? So type in the chat if you cannot hear me. So now, what can we do? So yesterday we started discussing about introduction to data science. Yes, I also want to use this opportunity to ask anybody if you have any question regarding what we discussed yesterday, and also maybe how to navigate this folder when you download it from GitHub. Does anybody has question or issue after downloading this? So just to remind you as well, when you download this, you clone this, make sure you always full. You see git full like this. When you git full, you will be able to see some order, because we'll be pushing update every day. So for example, today, you can see I pushed something in the next last 21 minutes. So if you already pull this or clone this git repository, it means there are something that are not synced from what you have locally. So what we advise is that every day, when you want to open this GitHub repository, for example, tomorrow, by next week, we will push the lecture note for NumPy and Pandas. And if you have already downloaded it, colony, it will not be there on your computer. So what we'll be doing is to come here, for example, I say here, clear, always try to git clone, git pull, I mean, git pull. You already know what git pull is. So when you git pull, you will push the latest, stuff that we have pushed there. Um, yeah. So this, I just want to remind you about doing this git pull and whatsoever. Any question? Okay, so as I said, this week is basically introduction and also getting you to know how we can navigate our program. Also, you will be receive an email about attendance. So our program, we need 90% attendance. Like if you don't have full attendance, 90% for that, then you will not be able to receive our certificate from Arewa Data Science. So attendance is very important, and we consider it that everyone should attend this session, unless if you have genuine reason that you can let us know before. Okay. So what I say here, you can see here, this is our data science, and this is our main README, right? This is the main README from our data science. This is the main README. So if you go here, we said this is the first sentence. If you go here, then there is another README. You can see README here inside this folder. So what kind of this README? So you can see here, if I'm in my VS Code, I can have this. I can see this is the README, the normal README we have. But if you go into the first one, introduction, you will be able to see README. You can see that. Yeah, README. You can see this README, right? Let me delete this folder. It's translation to other languages. So you can see here we have ethics and something like that. What is in our folder? So you can come through here if you wanna see something different, but working from this one also work. All right, let me open my Jupyter notebook. As I told you, I selected some summary from the Jupyter from the lecture note just to put here so that it will be good for that. Okay. um so we stopped yesterday about challenges, but today here what we're going to continue looking at is what is called data science ethics. So if you look at this one here, we have what is called data science ethics. Yesterday we talked about brief of data science, but we have data science ethics. So this is something about data science ethics. A lot of stuff here, but I make some summary. But you can have a look at the notebook, and also here if you look at it here, stage two. Oh, okay, here there is what we call stage two. Stage two slide. So everything, the notebooks are inside stage two, this notebook. So here is the stage one. So for stage two, everything will be here. So I will insert this notebook inside stage two. So let's look at the data science ethics. So if you remember yesterday, we talked about that. What we need to do, is in data science, data. You need to have data to be able to use data science. But there is some ethical concern regarding the using of data in data science. What does that mean? So it is expected by 2025 there will be this amount of data science. 180 zettabyte data will be created, and 1 in 3 large organizations buy or sell data. So people in the near future will be trying to buy data. So for example, now, if you want to use data science, for example, you want to analyze election in who will, win Nigerian election using Twitter data, you cannot get that Twitter data free. You need to pay Twitter to get. So let me show you Twitter data cost. Let me show you. So you need to buy. So if you look at the um, before, Twitter data is free, but now you need to buy. Let me show you if you want to get this data. Twitter API. Okay. Okay. So look at this. Let's assume you want to, create something machine learning that predict who will win Nigerian election using Twitter data. That means you need to get Twitter data, but the Twitter data is not free. Look at this. The free one is you can get like 100 tweets, 100 tweet or 500 posts per month. That's what you get. But for the basics, you can get 3,000 posts per month. Or 10. Oh, wait, the total limit is 10,000 tweet per month. And how much are you going to pay? Look at it. Annual is $2,010 just to get tweet, mind you. Just to get to it, and $2,200 per month pro. What about the pro? $54,000. Can you see that? $54,000. And how many total tweet can you get? Look at it. 1 million per month, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that data is no longer free. You need to even pay to get access to the data. So that means here you can see in large organization buy or sell data. So you need to be buying data, and you can see in this case, Twitter is selling your data. And for you to do this, something like that, you need to buy the data.
Oh, so, yeah.
You can be some kind of privacy manipulation bias or uniformization. So these are some of the risks with working with the data. What is the meaning by this uniformization? So privacy loss. You get to the Twitter data and you post something, your ID, your name, everything, your privacy, right? So there are many bias involved in using the data, or weaponization of AI. What does that mean? Now we know that there is what we call deep fake. Now, if you people know you and they know your images, they know your some of your videos. Some people can do some deep fake of your video doing something which is not correct. So for example, now here you can see AI generated deepfake video can be used to fabricate speeches or action of political figures, right? And they can use for blackmail, misinformation, and which is not correct. Let's look at some information, for example, here about deepfake. Um, can you hear? Tell me if you can hear the audio in the chat. Can you hear the audio? Oh, okay. You cannot hear the audio, right? Okay. Um. Okay. Just wait. Okay. Anyway, so what I want to show you is look at this one. This is somebody just tend to do the from Canada. You can see like the image is somehow similar, and this is also a deepfake. This is a video somebody talking. Okay, I will share this in your chat. Maybe you can play it after. But the essence of this is to show you that now there is something that you fake, and this is the consequences of data science because we learn data, we use the data, but it can be useful in the wrong way. So that's we need to be careful of how we can use the data. So this brings us to what we call ethics. Using the data science, we have what we already know what is ethics, right? Ethics is what is wrong and what is right. This is normally ethics. But now, because we are doing data science, we have what we call data ethics. This is something new. It's called data ethics. It's a new branch of ethics that studies moral program related to data, algorithm, and how we can use that data. So, for example, how can you get your data? Do you get your data from hospital? Do you tell people that you're gonna train your AI model with your data? How do you share the data? Do you, share the data to everyone, even though it is personal? So there are a lot of, data ethics related. So the first one here, you can see generation. How do you generate the data? How do you record the data? How can you correct process? All this one that is ethical concern related to using this. So this is what we call data ethics. For example, if you are collecting data, taking pictures, maybe you wanna train AI model, and you cannot go in the city, for example, in Kano, taking picture of every person. People just take their picture, and then you just go and train AI model. So that is ethical concern because why? You didn't tell those people that I'm gonna take your picture, I'm gonna train an AI with that, right? So you can see that is ethical concern. And let me tell you also another example that I recently hear about. Because here you can see how can you generate the data, how can you create the data. Now, when you talk about creating the data, there is also some ethical concern. So the problem here is now when ChatGPT was created by another company, they hire people from Kenya to write, English text. So, for example, they hire people to write something about English, story about English, and people from Kenya use for example, we know there is some English when you read it, you know that this English is from Nigeria. There is some English when you read it, you say this English from Kenya. So people from Kenya write story about, but using English. And now this data they created, was used to train ChatGPT. And now the problem is when you ask ChatGPT, when you give ChatGPT a text written by human being from Kenya, then ChatGPT will just say that this text is ChatGPT generated because the data that were to use to train ChatGPT was some part of a lot of English from Kenya. So this, you see, when you give AI content and say, tell me, is this human generated or human created or ChatGPT? Even though the text is human generated, but the ChatGPT will say is AI generated because kind of structure and where the data, English is written in Kenya is being used to train that. So this you can see is some kind of ethical concern. If, for example, somebody from Kenya write an English paper and submit, and he write it with his own hand, not ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will generate that. Hey, this is ChatGPT generated. So there are a lot of issue with content generation. So this is a lot about and data ethics. So there are something that we call ethical principles in data and AI. So there are a lot of ethical principles in AI: accountability, transparency, fairness, reliability, privacy and inclusiveness. If you go back to our, AI, if you go back to here, our lecture note, if you come to introduction to data science and you come to our data science ethics, you can see a lot of more explanation has been made here, but you can see here, this is what we are talking ethics principle. So you can see here what we call it: fairness, reliability, privacy, inclusiveness, transparency, accountability. So what are all these? Fairness, accountability. So this is what we are trying to say: accountability. Now what this means that accountability. When you train AI model, you must be accountable for whatever decision the model does. So meaning that you make sure that the model does not, create harmful output. So, for example, when you create a model or something like that, and you ask a model, "Tell me how to kill people. Tell me how to kill people." So you must make sure that the model is not telling those things, right? Uh, so let's go to ChatGPT, for example. Let's go to ChatGPT. Let me say how to kill people. Look at what it says. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Can you see the answer from ChatGPT?
Yes, sir.
So you can see that now, if ChatGPT, you can see you say, "I'm sorry, I cannot help." That means OpenAI, they make sure that the ChatGPT is not responding to this request. But if it is responding to this request, and now ChatGPT give me step by step how to kill people, and I now copy it and go and kill people, OpenAI must be held responsible for, causing harm to people. So this is what we call accountability, right? So if you do something, make sure that your model or your model decision is not harmful in any way. So that's what we call accountability. Transparency. System should be understandable to users stakeholder with clear explanation decision have been made. Explain why a loan was approved or denied. So for example, if we said we want to employ AI in our system that we have, where it will automatically, check, given history of people, to ask these people, can I give this person loan, or I should not give him loan? The model should not say, "No, don't give this person, don't give this one." No, it must be transparent. It must say, "Don't give Mr. Y because he borrowed some money in this bank, he hasn't give the bank," something like that. It must be transferable. Uh, Fairness. AI should treat individual equity, avoiding discrimination or bias. So there is some kind of discrimination. It should be fair. So this is an example. For example, in United States, when you have, the model that is being used to make a judge, like, in a court. When a person is a black person, the model will automatically say that this person should be taken to jail. But what if that person is white person? He is not, it's not the model treat that person, because he's white, is not probable to make, crime. So you can see the model is not fair. So AI should treat all individuals equitably, avoiding discrimination or bias. This is what we call fairness, right? Fairness. We have what we call AI reliability and safety. Your AI should be reliable. AI system should perform consistent under expected condition and avoid causing harm. For example, now we have AI system driving cars that drive, right? So the cars uses AI, but your AI system should be reliable, meaning that it should not break at any point. So if you have a car, it should at any cost prevent you from getting accident or something like that. So it should be reliable and safe. You know, privacy and security. Uh, AI should make sure that your data is private, meaning that maybe you should use some, you know, it should be the data. The system should not allow people to have access to your data. That is what we call. So all this one and inclusiveness, all this one what we call ethical principle in data and AI: accountability, transparency, fairness, reliability, privacy, and security. In fact, some people are doing PhD now in data ethics. Yes, some people are doing PhD. For example, you can use PhD, MSc in data ethics. You say your PhD, master's is in data ethics. So you can take like, you can take, for example, fairness. You can check how AI systems are fair along, maybe you can check transparency, how AI systems are transparent in black people and white people, right? For example, I have an example where I ask AI system. Let me just give you an example. Okay, let me give you an example. Show me, show me African people having breakfast in a village. Let's see what ChatGPT will give us. So this is what ChatGPT is giving us. Look at the African people, right? Look at it. Look at people, right? It's African people, right? But let's look at, okay, show me, show me uh, British people having breakfast in a village. Let's see what this. Now, one thing you should look at is, does that mean African people, this is how we had everyone in Africa, this is how we have how our breakfast? Are we poor? Can you see everyone? So, but if you look at for British people, look at it, it's posh. Can you see that? Can you see like they are having posh breakfast? Look at the meat, look at the way, look at the, you know. So does that mean AI now is very fair in terms of we black people and the white people, people from Britain? So you can see that it's kind of unfair because of course this is not how I do have my breakfast, right? This is not how I do my breakfast. Right? Can you see it? Like, can you see kids sitting, waiting to be eaten? So, in fact, what I'm telling you is that, in fact, you can do your MSc in maybe AI fairness, with transparency or safety. All these things are very topics that people are using, to learn. But this is just like, to show you there are a lot of things we do. Yeah. So there are a lot of, questions when creating system. Data science poses ethical challenge across two dimensions. So now all these issues that we have accountability, transparency, fairness, all these bring down us to two ways. That's what we call data collection and algorithm design. Now, because the data collected to train AI model, all the data collected to train AI model was something like this. Very bad picture from African black people. They were not very good. And the data that was collected to train AI model from British white people was very good. So this means that when collecting data to train machine learning or AI system, make sure you collect representative data, not only black people in a village that are poor, but also collect people that are in a village that are looking wild, so that when you train your system, it will be, fair. So this is what we are saying, like in data where we have this data collection problem. Was the data collected with informed consent? Is user privacy? Who own the data and consolidate data? So all this one is data collection problem. And also the algorithm design. When you design your algorithm, make sure that it is, work well across different group. Does the data have representative bias? This is what I mean by representative bias, because the data that was used to train ChatGPT was not representative, because we have very good people in Africa that are eating well in a posh environment, in a very good house, not all this one. So they will have what we call representative bias, meaning that the data does not represent everyone in Africa. So that's, what we mean by that. And we also define some, last time, some of the different kind of data we talk about, structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. Who can tell me an example of what is structured data? Who can tell me in the chat? Yesterday we talked about it. What is an example of structured data? What is an example of structured data? Okay, student record. Yes, exactly. Student record is an example of structured data. Who can tell us again another example? Structured data. Okay, form. Yeah, data collected in a form is structured data. Um, okay, good. Then we have unstructured data. Who can tell us an example of unstructured data in the chat? Unstructured data. Unstructured data. Yeah, audio, images, they are all, yes, exactly. Cool. Um, what about semi-structured? Okay, but we also have what we call raw data, qualitative data, and quantitative. So, um, raw data is just data that you collect from survey, for example. Data that is not processed is called raw data, right? So for example, survey data, when you give a form and ask people to fill in that data, when you have not processed, is called raw data. But we have two distinct differences of the type of data. We have qualitative data and quantitative data. So quantitative data is data that is in figures, for example, um, example, height, scores, monthly sales. This is quantitative. It's quantitative. But what about qualitative? Qualitative data is like customer feedback, interview, product review. These are what we call qualitative. That is that data that is form of text. Data that is not figures is called that. So you can see here we have raw data, quantitative, all this kind of data. This is a different kind of data. So this is just when you are doing data science, you'll be able to see qualitative data. So what we mean by qualitative? So for example, when you want to predict house price, you're going to use quantitative data. For example, how much how this house will cost, because you're going to use this data. But qualitative data, for example, when I want to predict who will win election in Nigeria, I'm going to use tweets. So that is qualitative. When it is tweets, when it is text, it's qualitative. When it is numbers, it's quantitative. So you will be using different kind of data to, do data science. So this is basically conclude our introduction of data science and different kind of data you're going to use. And next week we're going to dive in to start looking at different kind of aspect of data science that we'll be going. And then say this is actually what we'll be doing. So this just wrap up of our introductory section. This is introduction to data science. As you can see, we cover defining data science ethics. This is, you can read this more about this, but yeah, there are a lot here you can read about this one. And then we cover also defining data. In defining data, what is raw data, quantitative, qualitative, all this structured and unstructured data. That is it. And defining data science, here we did cover something yesterday here. Where can we get the data, databases, and all this structured and the unstructured data. Yeah. So next week we will start diving into the details of our data science, where we walk through NumPy and pandas. But for today, for this week, it's just general introduction of what we will be doing, and also introduce you some aspect of data science. Yes. This is also, we also explain how you can be able to move along your BS code. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Any question? So let's accept question now. If you have question, if you have, yeah, Abdullahi Awal, ask your question.
My question regarding next class is there anything we need to add to our code editor or we get to know
No,
that
no,
during the class?
no, no, no. No, 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 no. Because you already did a Python, we already prepare you all the details you needed, so you don't need to install anything. Just come to next week with your class. We'll be able to, unless and there are two things that we're gonna do, NumPy and Pandas. So what I would say, if you have not installed NumPy, install NumPy. Remember uh, there is way to. Okay, let me share my screen. Um, yeah. So next week, if you have not installed, and we already know how to do install, pip install, what pip install, pip install Pandas and NumPy. So if you have not installed these two guys, you can do that. Pip install NumPy and Pandas. Can you see that? Pip installs, because we're going to use NumPy and Pandas and you must have them working. So you can see already satisfied because we already installed them. So if you have not installed Pandas and NumPy, you can install them. And we already know how to do installation using pip install. Yeah, so if you have not installed Pandas and NumPy, do install Pandas and NumPy for the next week. Any question again?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, afternoon.
Sir, please, I want to connect with you because I have a machine learning project I want to work on, and I need a mentor that will guide me through the project, sir.
Yeah, if you are in our Discord, we are in our Discord. Talk to us in our Discord. Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
you
Thank you,
can.
sir.
Yeah, you can talk to me in Discord. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. Anyone with question? Yeah. So, as I said, the journey is, just started. But you learn a lot, right? The journey just started. We now cover today what is data and what's Whatever. Next week, the NumPy and Pandas, they are really, really good concept that you need to learn. But let me even show you if you are curious to learn more. So if you come to here, Python for data analysis, these are two things that maybe you can go through over. So Python data science handbook, you can go. So if you go to Python data science handbook, you can see it here. There is concept, there is two chapters. You can see introduction to NumPy and data manipulation with pandas. So these two concepts, you can go through them because this is what we are going to cover. If you call it introduction to NumPy, so you can start reading it, introduction to NumPy, you can go through it. In fact, you can open it in Colab. You can open it in Colab like this. Can you see introduction to NumPy? You can see, yeah. So what I would suggest is you can start going through this, this and yeah, let me see introduction to NumPy. You can see how this is how you move along. Yeah, if you go to introduction basic NumPy, you can see basic NumPy. Can learn a lot and computation in NumPy. You can go. So basically, this is what we are going to be teaching you next week, how you can use NumPy. Yeah. Uh, but this book is really good. But if another one is this, I can also share the book with you if you like. Another one is um, this one. Uh, oh, this Python for data analysis. So you can see this book is also free. If you look at this one, we have what we call chapter 4. Can you see chapter 2? NumPy basics. If you go to this chapter 4, NumPy basic, you can finish this. It will really help you to understand the concept. You can see it is called NumPy basic, right? And then chapter 5 is called getting started with pandas. Getting started with pandas. So if you can't hear getting started with pandas, you can go through it and you can learn it. So I will urge you, if you want to learn more and also to learn next week more, don't even consider the other book because this one is more recent. Go through this chapter 4 and 5. Chapter 4 and 5, NumPy basic and getting started with pandas. Try to work through it. Yep. Kindly share out. Okay, yeah, I will share the book as well. Yeah, I will share this book. It's importantly this book. I will share this book, Python for Data Analysis, because it's the latest book. It's more recent than the other one. So I will share this PDF version of this book, and you can go. In fact, if you find the online edition of the book useful, please consider ordering a book. But here you need to buy. But I will send you the PDF book. Yes. Yeah. Any question again? Any question again? Yes, Hassan Muhammad Jalo, ask the question. Hassan Muhammad.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
What's about paper reading session? Stop.
What are you saying?
Paper reading session. Usually
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Paper reading session will, we will resume hopefully next week. Yeah. I've already talked to them. We are going to resume. I talked to them yesterday, and they are going to resume the paper reading session. Yes. Thank you for that reminder. Any question again? What is the concept of web scraping? Okay. So somebody is asking, what is the concept of web scraping? Yeah, that's a good one. So web scraping is a way to get data from internet. So for example, we have BBC. So BBC. So you can see this is a BBC, right? And maybe you want to get all the data from BBC, like this one text. That is what we call web scraping. To scrap web to get data. And that is something that you do when you want to get data. I think we would discuss about web scraping in some of our session, but web scraping is basically way to collect data from internet. So web scraping, for example, all this data, and we have some Python packages that you can use for web scraping. Yeah. Any question again? What is the next step after finishing the associate data scientist from DataCamp? Okay, good. You remember we all give you DataCamp access? Yes. One of the key principle for our REO data science is that you must finish the DataCamp associate certificate we gave you. I believe everyone here was enrolled into data science, associate certificate from our DataCamp. While you are following in with what we are doing, you are also following up with your DataCamp, access. So you must consistently follow that one, because that is what we will use also. Everyone must finish to get certificate from us. Yeah. Somebody, Shamsuddin, is asking, what is the next step? Do you finish the data scientist associate certificate from Datacom? Do you finish that one, Shamsuddin?
Yes, sir, I finished it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So we will, if you finish it, because we finished the data scientist associate data science from Datacom, but we also the basic requirement from REO Data Science, the basic one is to finish the data science associate data scientist certificate. But if you finish it, we can assign you the next certificate, the next things you can follow up along as well. Yeah, that's a good work for that. Maybe I can ask Lukman. Lukman, can you tell us what will be the next step after finishing the associate, so that assign other people to go through the associate?
Okay, so for those that have completed the associate data scientist certificate, the next thing is to do the certification. So after completing the track, you just get a statement of accomplishment where you go through the certification, which involves a written test and then a practical where you go through a notebook and answer the code. So once you do that, you have a certification from DataCamp as an associate data scientist, which can be shared.
Oh, okay, right. So I think maybe we have not assigned them the certification. So I will ask the engineer so that I will not forget. Please, Lukman, ask him to assign everyone the certificate. So let me recap this one. So the first thing we assign you from Datacam is Data Scientist Associate, where you can learn and do. But Datacam, okay, let me share screen. Datacam certificate. Yes. So Datacam they have like certificate. So let me scroll this one here. Look at it. Where is certificate? Certification. So Datacam they have certification. Data scientist, data analyst, data engineer, many certifications. So let's go to data scientist, for example. Okay, no. Let me go to let me go to certificate, for example, here. So if you come here, certificate, you are going to have different kind of certificate which you can share in LinkedIn and whatsoever. The one you got after you finish all the practice is not the official certificate. The official certificate you need to pay, I think, but we have access where you look at it. I think this is what you are going to have when you finish. Associate data scientist. Right, this is what you are going to have. I think let me see something. How much that is called? Data contact is including your premium. Okay. Yeah, so we'll assign you this certificate to finish, where you can use this certificate to share it. Yeah, so Lukman, please help me to remind engineer to share, to enroll everyone into the certificate, so that people that are already finished start doing their certificate. And the certificate, I think, is very it's kind of exam where they give you some time. Maybe Lukman, you can share inside, like they can give you how many hours. Is it 1 hour? So you make sure that you really understand practice, so that you'll be able to, even if you fail, you cannot do it again until they give you like some hours or some days. Lukman, can you tell your experience about the certificate?
Okay, for the associate data scientist certificate, there are two tests. The first one is written, and for the written is number of questions. Mostly some are multiple choice and some are fill in the blanks, where you fill in the code, and they will ask questions related to statistics, to Python, and data science concepts, things like that. So you have time for each question. Once the time elapses, the question is gone. So you can't switch back between questions. You have to answer the question as it's showing. So, and once the total time is gone, and then you're done. And for the practical, they'll give you space to fill in the code, and you get to test it. You only have 2 chances to submit. If both submits are wrong, you fail that, and you have only one more chance. So if you lose 2 chances, you have to wait 2 weeks before you can enroll again. And for the written test, it's also the same. You can only, once you fail the first time, you have to wait 2 weeks. So that's the way it is, because the waiting is for somebody to prepare better. Because failing means you didn't really understand the concept, so you need more time to prepare. So allowing you to attempt immediately again will be bad. So that's why they allow that time, so that the person can prepare again and be better grounded. Hello, is anyone here?
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Oh, sorry. As I said, it was Lukman that first finished the certificate from Datacam, and you can share it. For example, if you are applying for a job, you can share that certificate that you are certified from Datacam as a data scientist, associate, or something like that. So everyone in this fellowship will also have the certificate from Datacam, unless if you are not, you don't know how to do that, like you are not good. But if you really practice, you'll be able to succeed to pass the exams. Yeah. If you have any more questions, please join our Discord. If you haven't joined yet, ask many questions in Discord. We'll be able to respond to you. Yeah, but I think we will hop up the call now, and then we can see next week. And next week, Lukman will dive into the NumPy and Pandas. So come well prepared, and I will share the book in the Discord channel. And even if you are practicing something in the while during the week, you can ask questions that is channel, and we'll be able to answer you. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye for now.